Hey everyone, Arbiter Wolf here with another weekly video. So this week was, I thought, a pretty decent week. I got started with this week with doing the practice week. So I'm kind of combining both my two areas of doing a course and then also doing my own personal practice or areas of interest to practice. And for the specific, my own personal practice, I've been doing Choming's videos. And specifically this week, I was focusing on the front head. He has a little template here that I printed off, and the two heads on the left are more of a realistic head, and then the two on the right are more of a cartoonish head. And basically, the idea with this is to get the proportions memorized when trying to draw it. And what's good about this is just continuously drawing it over and over again. And I feel a lot of my issues is whenever I try to learn something that I move on away from it and then that knowledge is just lost. So I'd like to get to a point where I'm like just being able to recall these from memory. But for now, I'll just keep with a lot of practice like this using his templates. I really only focused on the front head. I think I'll put in the side head for the next practice week. But I'll still keep going with the front head until I feel like I've had like a very good grasp of it. Other thing too, I feel like that could have been better for the week for practice week was just planning out things a little bit more. Sometimes it kind of felt like I just kind of went with that general idea of what I wanted to do, but then I didn't have things like fully like set up to like just instantly get into it. I would like to plan that out a little bit more when it comes to this next week when I have comic week. And the overall plan for going forward is to kind of switch off when I do practicing for a week and then doing comics for a full week. We'll kind of see how that works. But moving into the course here for Drawbox, I felt like my Drawbox skills were like very rusty. And kind of what I wanted to do before I went into his exercise that I left off at is kind of just practice a little bit more of kind of his old stuff. This one here that I was doing was going to be a attempt at the exercise that I'm currently on, but it just felt like the boxes weren't the best, and I felt like I needed to get a little bit more warm up to go back into his exercises. So I didn't really get a whole lot done with Drawbox, but I'm hoping to get a lot more for the next practice week. But overall, for practice week, I thought it was pretty decent. It was nice just focusing on the practice compared to having to worry about getting the comic done. But speaking of comics, I do have the comic that I did for last week here. So I actually did two last week, so this is the other one that I just didn't show. So some interesting things are coming together for the story here. As for the art, I'm hoping maybe I can improve a little bit more this upcoming week. Maybe I'll try a little bit of just basic shading. But the goal is for the week is that I'll get at least two of these done. So I'll have one for my next video and then another one for the following week, which will be the practice week, so that you guys can get a new comic every week. So that's the goal there. But story wise, I think it's coming together here. I'm getting a little bit better with the bubbles compared to before. As for the art, I feel the heads are getting a little bit better. For the background, that needs some work. But that's what I'm hoping to maybe address with these comic weeks is maybe getting a little bit more time trying to focus on making better comics here. But that is pretty much all I really had for this week. So this next week is going to be comic week, and then I'll follow it up with another practice week, and we'll kind of see how this works going forward. But I have a feeling that it's going to be a lot better compared to kind of focusing on getting a comic out a week and trying to do practice at the same time. But that is it for this video. So if you guys like the video, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I will see you guys all in the next one. Thanks.